Incredible stories you never knew about the Titanic. Thanks to James Cameron's Titanic, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who hasn't heard of the infamous 1912 disaster. Despite how much you think you know, you'll be surprised to hear these stories from on board the most recognizable ship in history. The captain failed his navigation test. Talk about a bad omen. In 2012, it was revealed that Captain E.J. Smith failed the first time he took his navigation exams. He eventually passed them in 1888 and earned himself the nickname the Millionaire's Captain, but the majority of his career was spent on sail ships and steamers. A more experienced captain would have probably known not to increase to full speed in an area known for icebergs. The weather was perfect. While most people think of shipwrecks happening during huge tempest-like storms, the clear water and still air might have been what led to the Titanic's downfall. With no waves whatsoever, the only thing making ripples in the water was the ship itself. Yet had there been even a mild swell, the iceberg ahead would probably have been visible. Meteorologist Edward Lawrence notes that phosphorescent plankton would have been pushed on the side of the iceberg, and as they glow when disturbed, they would have illuminated the iceberg. Charles Lightoller, the second officer on the Titanic, specifically recalled the lack of plankton. There was only about a minute to save everything. By the time the iceberg was spotted, there was almost no way to avoid a collision. A ship that big needs time to turn. The 1912 investigation concluded that the Titanic only had 37 seconds to change course, though recently that time has been estimated to be closer to a minute. Either of those time frames would have most likely been too small to save the ship. One man aboard nearly predicted the disaster. William T. Stead was one of the most famous passengers aboard the Titanic. He pioneered investigative journalism and was never afraid to campaign for various issues through his writing. In 1886, he published a fictional story about how two ships collide and end in a large loss of life due to an insufficient number of lifeboats on the ships. He wrote, "This is exactly what might take place and will take place if liners are sent to sea short of boats." The night of the sinking, he helped several women and children into lifeboats, gave his life jacket to another passenger, and was seen clinging to a raft with John Jacob Astor IV. His body was never recovered.